being self-aware is a big part of how you can build authenticity, because if you don't really know yourself as the vessel, if you don't know yourself as, the person and the spirit, it's very hard to actually gain traction on trying to sustain a narrative. I don't limit myself based on what I came to do. Because perspective is everything. I might not need to know everything that I heard that day and use it.
And use it.
But one day there's going to come a time where the perspective is going to add value to my thinking, to what I'm trying to build.
Yeah. Welcome back. Welcome back to Creator Conversations. It's your girl, Miss Rose, the influencer sister. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Let's go subscribe. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're still on the slow lane, and Kenya 6. So please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share this with your friends, your family, to make sure that Libona, they subscribe. We're still giving away that 1,000 Rand cash, and we are also now giving away a tracksuit from Clothes Clothing, a one of one. So really, there's no reason for you to not be subscribed. Surely, there's no reason. So do the right thing and subscribe. Today, again, I am not alone. Kitli Lily, I almost said double adapter, and that would have been a little bit on the risque side. But Kitli Lily, jack of all trades. That's the one. That's the Kitli Lily, jack of all trades. Kitli Lily, content creator extraordinaire. It's not even she's not a makeup artist, by the way. She will introduce herself, but Kitli Lily, creative director. Kitli Lily, what up, baby?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Oh, it's been a minute. I've been eyeing this platform. Like,
Ane?
Manifesta. Oh.
And here you are. I carry
Yes,
manifestations
my prayers are
and stuff. Prayers so strong. So a little bit of an intro for the peeps.
Hi, everybody. My name is Khumo Hlatshwayo. I am a creative director. I am a writer. I am a mom. I'm a makeup artist. I wear many hats, and all of my skills are gifted to me, and I love using all of them.
Ane?
Yeah.
And you've been fortunate enough to be in a space where they just all over.
Yes.
And they hula all at once.
Yes.
So today, because we have you here under the hat of creative director, but also still as a content creator to some extent, because I mean, as a creative director, you are essentially a content creator, producer. Let's talk about your role. What do you think the role is of a creative director in this creator economy?
A creative director essentially holds a narrative, and we explore emotion, we explore, the psychology of people. We're noticers, we're observers, and I think creative directors often have to play many different, or tap into many different spheres of themselves, because when you're going to tell a story, that's something that you become a custodian of that, So it requires like life experience. It requires you knowing a little bit more about yourself and the world around you and what's happening, in different spaces. And when you're holding a story, you need to know what to do with it. So it's a particular hat in terms of even a production setup, because that's the person who helps guide that the narrative is going where it needs to go, And
I love that.
That's basically the responsibility you hold, is being able to facilitate that the story is reaching its peak, that it's hitting all the points it needs to hit, that it's resonating, that it's authentic, that it's translating, So it's a big job, but it's taken very lightly, and I think it's really great that I get to have a chat, because I've always wanted to actually go into what really this role entails, because I think so many brilliant writers are stuck behind lots of different parameters and limitations, because we think a title is supposed to then, give us passage, but in essence, life experience is what gives you passage. So that's the role.
I love that you've touched on so many things about, especially as a creative director, being a custodian. So a lot of people don't necessarily have access maybe to a creative director. And, once you're still starting up as a creator, you have to kind of be your own creative director, what are some of the top things, whether it's 3 things or 5 things, or top things that creators need to really zone in on when they are creating and building their visual brand or their brands visually?
I think the first thing I can start with is to definitely do your research. It's definitely a research thing.
You know what I like? I love my guests. And so, side note, don't lose your chain of thought. Side note, I don't send my guests questions before they come.
No.
So that we don't plan and then you guys are going to say that we strategized before. I don't ever. And every time they say what I've told you, as you were saying.
It's research, guys. Number one, top of everything is research. And I think there's a very big misunderstanding about what research looks like.
Yeah.
And the reason why I used the term life experience is because stories are everywhere around us. It just depends on, are you watching? Are you observing? Are you listening?
Yeah.
Are you present? You
Yeah.
know, and being able to do your research is not just online. It's conversations with people. It's allowing multiple narratives to exist so that you understand context. You
Especially
understand
when you're
perspective.
trying to be authentic.
Yes.
It's in the authentic everyday moments where you get the story.
Yeah. So the thing is that if you're going to align it with being authentic, then without the research, where do you get the base from? Where do you
Yeah.
get the context to build from?
Yeah.
And having been, somebody who's I grew up always watching people, right? So there's this phase I like to call the mirror glass phase, right? Where between the ages of 10 and 15, you're kind of just watching and observing because you're trying to figure out where everything is and who everyone is to you. And, in relation to school, in relation to your sport, in relation to the things you like, but it's not yet a you POV. You're still outwardly, externally experiencing everything, So research comes in where now you're much older, or possibly older than obviously your teens and younger, and you've got some observation material, right? But it's limited to your context.
Yeah.
So you have to combine it in a sense with your environment. You have to combine it with other people's stories and who, everyone grew up with a mom who's got umngani who always comes to the house and bari shwashwate ko kitchen banwete high for but you'd be sitting there and you kind of eavesdropping, but you can hear what's
You're
being
absorbing
said.
something.
And you can pick up on energy. You can feel
Yes.
if they talked about something serious or if they chat about something fun. So you get to definitely experience what is going on externally and you match it with what you've known about yourself, and then you've got like a research base. You've got different perspectives, you've got different understandings of people, right? And the lives that we live. And the second thing that I would say is definitely, I think authenticity is maybe like a hot topic word, but we really don't always go deep into what authenticity means. And what it is, And for me, I'm a conscious person, right? So in my everyday life, I have to exercise a certain amount of awareness of me. Right? And knowing what I am and who I am is going to anchor what I think. It's going to anchor how I want to share what I share. And being able to know what my quirks are, being able to know what my lingo is, being able to know how my mind works and how my heart works and how I respond to certain things. Being self-aware is a big part of how you can build authenticity, because if you don't really know yourself as the vessel, if you don't know yourself as the person and the spirit, it's very hard to actually gain traction on trying to sustain a narrative. Because like I said, you need a base. There needs to always be something that grounds the things that we think about, the things that we say, the things that we feel. So leading into the third one that I think is really important is then having a good relationship with the truth. And that's the thing that I think a lot of creatives, I have that effect. That's the thing a lot of creators kind of overlook, is that the relationship you have with the truth, it's what's framing and building your perspective, right? So your POV can't be limited to what you think and what you know and what you believe. When you're going to hold a narrative, if you're going to be able to tell stories, even if it's your own, even if it's external stories, other people's stories, just being able to tell a story has to do a lot with you being able to tell the truth. Because for you to be able to get a moment, right? That's one of the big things that directors usually will look for. A moment. What are we teaching the audience, or what would we like the audience to get out of this experience? And what are we exposing? What are we showing? You know, and if we miss that because the performance is not giving, it's very hard to synthesize that. So we can't fake, this process. The story will lose grip and it won't be strong. So at the end of the day, without these three, research, inner work and introspection and authenticity, then it becomes difficult to really know your story and to be clear about the stories happening around you.
Which then obviously impacts and will have an effect on how you tell stories. You said such an important thing about, authenticity, but in a way that I've said before that, people, one of the things that they can do is an audit. And I always speak about it from a social media perspective and from an online. To constantly audit yourself. And what you said is so important is that while you are auditing your profiles, your TikTok or your Instagram or your YouTube or whatever, it's important then, as you are saying, is that if you're trying to build yourself as a brand, you're trying to position yourself as a business or as a credible voice, as a voice of authority or of knowledge, to audit even you, right? Because you might audit and your social media might look good, but are you okay?
You okay? Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
So, so that you can keep up with that authenticity. How do you then develop concepts that are fresh? You spoke that last thing that you spoke about is your relationship with the truth, which means that even in your storytelling, you want your truth to always come across, or you want to at least connect to somebody else's truth. How do you think, or what advice could you give in terms of how to create concepts that are fresh but are still true to you, and true to your truth?
I think the best thing you can always do for yourself as a creative is start simple. Keep it simple. When you start embellishing before you've even understood what's at the core of what you're trying to say, we might look at a pretty thing, but if it means nothing, it's a moment in time that will never linger. It won't stay, And I like to look at the creative process. Right? Everybody, or every artist, creative, builder, whoever you are, it would be great and beneficial to you if you can employ a production system for you, a creative system, something that helps you navigate and like checkpoints. Right? So creative ideas are in essence things you say. They are things you think would be cool. They are things you think someone should know. Right? And that doesn't hold any gravitas until you can give it some context. So if there is no point behind what we are doing and saying, it falls flat.
For sure.
If there is no basis to what we are doing and saying, it falls flat. So the point of aesthetics, instead of it being forward, how does the story look? How does the story come across? How does the story read to people? That should be the last thing you're thinking about. The first thing you should be thinking about is, what am I saying? What am I getting out of this narrative that I'd like to push? Because once you're clear about the narrative and once you know the truth of that narrative, whether joy, happy, sad, you have to find a moment that you're going to amplify. Because every story can be maybe, lengthy, can be long-winded or aimless. But once you give a story some checkpoints, you can make sure that you are holding the integrity of the story out. And that by the time you are done telling this particular story, that it resonates, even for you. Do you believe what you are saying here? Do you believe how you're sharing it?
Because I think also sometimes creators create things for moments. And they don't really think next step, right? For a, if I'm portraying this type of person today, people kind of have the right, I'm saying that loosely, to expect that from you, unless you take me along in the story where you're like, no, this is where I'm starting out, this is where I'm trying to go, and this is where I'm trying to achieve. And I find that creators kind of find themselves then stuck, and that's how they get to a space where they're replicating other people's work.
Yeah.
And passing it on as their own.
It's also the easiest scapegoat,
Also,
right?
yeah.
Because if there's an idea that's already kind of floating around, there could be one of two ways that it's happening for a creative who hasn't maybe had experience in exploring the entirety of a story or storytelling, story building. And that would be that the one way is that a creative is either going to try and mimic it and catch on that, oh, but I could actually do it like this.
Yeah.
I hear what that base was. I get that inspiration, but now maybe I can tweak it like this because I think this is the point, or this is what I'd like to show about what was said or what was done, or that moment that I'm trying to polish.
Okay.
And the other side is that someone could see it and think, oh my God, I'm so entirely overwhelmed. I've bitten off more than I can chew, and I still have to commit to finishing it. So I'm just going to copy and paste it and just hope no one really notices.
For the best.
Yeah. So it's basically up to you, you know. So that thing I was saying about the truth, something has to be true to you for you to know it's going to last long. So if you compromise your creative ideas by not having a process that can help you develop which idea to use, is it needing tweaking? Is it a good idea for now? Is it a good idea for later? If it's a story for other people, your own perspective can't be the only perspective that exists. So can you extend yourself to understand what the audience might want to receive out of this? And be able to, you know, exclude yourself and be practical and look at it from more an analytical eye to say, is this going to tell the truth? So that if it's telling the truth, then everything else that comes with it becomes a bonus because it's true.
Because it's true.
When something resonates, it's because we get it. I've been through that, or I know that, or I've seen somebody who went through that, right?
I think also people then really struggle because they try to, I see now what you're saying with the relationship with the truth. Because if I'm going to try to create something that will speak to everybody's truth, I'm going to scatter myself a little too far and wide. So now what you've just said makes me think of, you know, the importance of having, for one shoot, for example, a mood board. Would you then say that creators would benefit in creating a mood board, not just for shoots, individual shoots, and for individual sort of setups? Do you think that, you know, creating a mood board, even for a month or 3 months? Because I think like I'm saying, is that we're trying to help creators get out of those little habits that cause them to struggle with longevity. Would you think that a mood board, is there such a thing as a long-term mood board?
I think you have to definitely look at it like, if you're going to be able to show somebody what you're thinking in your head, you need to be able to make sense of it. So you need to be able to take people on a little journey to describe what this is and what it could look like and what the mood, the feel is. So it's called a mood board because it's just giving nuances of what you are envisioning to create.
Khumo ubua sekgowa, that's the thing.
Naki, let's go long, guys.
That's the thing. Mama hai signed a very big check.
I'm not in the business of refunding.
After check. Nuances, you know. Kopa ubuele my people rabotse, and it kiranna at that time because nuances. I'm like, this one I can't let it pass. What is the nuance? I never.
It's basically all the moments, the extras, the things, the textures, the soundscape, the sensations you're getting.
So I think, and just so that to give everybody context, the reason why I went straight to mood board, because maybe they haven't heard me say, we've already used two of some of my favorite words. We've said research, we've said authenticity, strategy. So you would have already built a strategy for your content. So now the mood board is you bringing the nuances. Say it with me, the nuances. You're bringing that to your strategy. So that's why I'm asking her the question specifically on the mood board, because you would have already created a strategy. So really go step 2, Yanung, after the strategy. How do you bring your story to life? Whether it's your personal shoot, or it's a paid campaign, or it's just your personal social media, so you can try and keep up with the story that you're telling. Yeah, how? Yeah.
It's a visual language.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can do it in words, you need to be able to kind of do it in pictures as well.
Right.
So having a mood board, whether it's for longevity or not, is still an important visual element to have that supports the vision. It's what carries, or it's what helps align all the minds that I have to take it into this context. Because when it's words, it's open to interpretation. Everybody's going to catch, because of their own references, what they're thinking this is going to be. So if you can present yourself in a mood board, it gives such a good direction and a good sense of who you are, or what you're trying to say, or what you represent, or what you stand for. So it's aesthetically the match to So once you give someone something to look at, we say the saying, we eat with our eyes.
Yes.
It's, I think the same could apply to creative processes, because once you're a creative who is good at telling the truth to yourself and who wants to tell the truth to others in the various ways that you choose to tell your stories, then having a mood board that supports that just becomes an extra pillar that makes it easy for the rollout, that makes it easy for the palette of your audience, of whoever you're pitching to, whoever you're talking to. They feel like they got to know you a little bit better.
And it's easily, like, you can take it in and understand it. But even if you don't understand it at first, but the more you
There's
take
guidance.
in, the more you understand it, and the more you...
There's guidance.
I
and
hear
another thing is that, I mean, my personal journey with visual representation is that I actually spent 2 years learning Canva. I taught myself how to use it because I started seeing the limitation behind only moving with words. And I struggled following up the words with my own vocal ability because now I've got no way of showing people what I really mean. So I started dancing between all my words, and I got confused and lost and felt like I don't have my story together. And then I went on this journey to just like conquer something I've never done before and just try, And fortunately, my sister's a photographer, and she used it for different things in her space, and it was on the laptop we shared. And I was like, you know what? Let me try. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, And I started with the free version, using the pre-made templates, using, just trying to get familiar with it. And the reason I'm even mentioning it is because sometimes creatives don't understand that it's the school of life. Just because you didn't go to a certain university doesn't mean that resources are not available for you to empower yourself with some skills. So now, because I spent that much time teaching myself how to use Canva and how to allow it to help me better communicate what I'm trying to say, it makes it that much easier now for me to have even a style. So there's a way I make my mood board.
And boy, is there a style.
I put together a mood board.
Girl, listen, one thing about it, she will put together a mood board. Just so you know, I love this movie. We don't have the budget for all of this. She's like, no, that's not the point. I'm like, it's giving premium. Yeah, it's giving premium.
But that's my brand.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to do. So even from where I started to where I am now, the growth is like clear, So they go hand in hand. Having the ability to speak for yourself visually does go with the knowledge and some skill sets that can help you be proficient in doing that, because you can pay somebody. That's cool. And there's lots of people who are really good at it. It's just better if you can do it on your own, because now you've empowered yourself with a skill that you can use anytime, anywhere. Even if the opportunity knocks tonight, you can hoya young 2 hours, you chop it up, you give a young, and there's things that you can do. Whereas if you have to wait for someone, there's their turnaround time, there's their other clients, so if you want to really, really, really make a difference for yourself, like, get good at translating what you're trying to say onto a mood board. Yeah.
I think you've said an important thing, because we always, and I always talk to my people here, and I always say, in as much as I can love your style, it's not necessary for me to replicate it. There are things that I can extract from your style, and then if I like the way you talk, maybe let me just find out, how do I talk? How do I sound? Record yourself, listen to yourself, so that you're not always just trying to do what other people are doing. And a mood board also kind of helps you with that, because I find that if you don't have a plan, that's where you start to just do things because they are trending, or so and so did it and they went viral, so you think it's gonna work
For you,
so that kind of thing kind of helps you, because when you put everything together, you start to realize that, oh, okay, don't have to do everything at once. Oh, I like Khumo's shoe style, and I like so and so's hairstyle, and I like so and so's makeup style, and you're able to, you know, find yourself in there. And I think you've said an important thing is that if you give yourself time with things, and just remember that things don't happen overnight. So you didn't become a jack of all trades overnight, you know, grinding years in the industry.
Unlearning, failing, trying, getting disheartened, trying again, you know, meeting people who bring you a fresh perspective, meeting people who change your mind about something you were very certain works a certain way. You know, it's being a creative, you have to be malleable. You have to be malleable. You must adjust.
Hati mamelang sekgowa.
Be malleable.
Rona ntse re re flexible. My dear. On this side, very malleable. Ay, di tlo boya too much. I'm gonna need to do a part 2. I just get a glossary.
Yes, a glossary.
All the words, Kiri. When she said nuances, and then we do an episode on malleable, not flexible, malleable.
Look, these are things that you definitely have to invest in.
Yeah.
Invest in the stock quality in yourself, because
sure.
at the end of the day, if you can't take the time to develop your creative process, your strategy, your visual branding, and just you as a creative, there's things that you're going to miss out on. You're going to misalign with certain things that's not going to fit you. And it's not necessarily wrong, but it's going to derail you in other paths that are not necessarily good for you right now. So if you can do the work of just digging deep in yourself and seeing what can I unearth about myself, and where can I teach myself something I didn't know that can add value, you know, because in the space that I work in, I don't limit myself based on what I came to do.
Yes.
So a large part of my creative career stems from working in productions in film and television. And those were very easy for me to see that these are very much connections to me learning.
Yes.
So I'm either going to be here to waste my time, or I'm going to be here and actually get something. And I'm there for 12 to 16 hours, and I better make that time
I need to make
worth
that time
it.
work.
You know what I'm saying? So now you don't just sit in your corner and wait for someone to come and ask you to do something that you specifically do.
Sure.
I float around. I'm chatting to agency. I chat to the chef. I chat to the bus guys. I chat to the lighting grip guys. I talk to everybody when I'm on set. Why? Because perspective is everything. I might not need to know everything that I heard that day and use it. But one day there's going to come a time where the perspective is going to add value to my thinking, to what I'm trying to build. And being able to remember, you know, your memory is a big part of how all of this can either go far or stay short. If you have trouble remembering things, then that's an awareness you need to work on as a creative to strengthen that muscle, because you need, when you want to go far, you need your body to work with you. You need your mind to work with you. And you need your spirit to agree to the things that you're doing. Otherwise, the discourse then sets you so far off of the trajectory you were supposed to be on. And then you start fielding and thinking, oh, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I should do that. Maybe, but now also life pressures. But you're just going to drift away from what you're supposed to do.
What you're supposed to do.
And when all you had to do was just sit with yourself a little bit longer and just understand what you are, and be okay with the confusion, because it is confusing at first.
Because it is,
you know. So I like to talk about curation, right? Curation is like a very big part of how you are able to execute, right? So without a vision and without an active way that you're going to execute it, and without the resources, things don't necessarily align well, right? So when you curate, being able to curate well and execute well means that you've spent your time researching really well. I spend a copious amount of time on Pinterest.
Yes.
I don't like many other platforms. I enjoy Pinterest because it actually keeps up with my algorithm.
Shout out to the people at Pinterest.
They work in overtime, and I love that there's such a mixed and varied spectrum of content creators there that, you know, someone in Baltimore and I are now a phone, you know, away apart, because it's brought it that much closer to me. And once I start building, the beauty of Pinterest is that you can build boards, right? And based on the different boards you're building, you can start putting things that you just liked, things that you can like compartmentalize them, which is something that creators also tend to struggle with, is being able to put things in certain folders just so that you know that they're there. We kind of just muddle everything up.
Together,
then every time we have to go scrounge for an idea, we're shuffling out of this box.
And you're losing out on important things.
And time is wasting.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you never want to present yourself in front of a client or anybody who needs to receive your body of work and see you panting.
Yes.
And see you kind of anxious.
About it.
That's the energy you're transferring to this material that they have to read. So they are going to be anxious reading it and seeing it. So it's curation is also like a big part of how you can make sure that the mood board work is good. That to make sure that you can translate what's on the mood board into real life.
Into real life. That's a good way to kind of segue into our next part. Now you've got a strategy, you've researched strategy, mood board. Now we're here. Let's talk about grooming, right? Because it's so important that like it's not about having expensive hair, having the best eyebrows, having this. Putting yourself together is just the meaning of brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, just to put yourself together and just, is your white shirt, is it clean? Is it ironed? Is it whatever? What are some of the grooming and maybe even wardrobe mistakes that, that content creators kind of make? And be from abroad, from just content creators online and just content creators in general?
I think for me, I'm going to have to place it as a pet peeve because I see it then so often that it becomes this annoying thing I can't avoid when I'm online.
Yeah.
Be careful not to look like a gimmick. Sometimes especially when someone is outspoken, especially when a creative is of an eccentric nature, that is just their style. They are flamboyant or loud and proud and, got a lot of character and sass. And, I think once you've passed managing it, it starts looking funny.
For sure. Because
and not the cute funny.
Yeah, because then it will actually distract from the content itself.
That's what I'm saying, not the cute funny, because now it says Zokikiki on your page. So while your engagement is going up, we're not there for the right reasons because we're distracted.
Yeah.
And now that's not worth the effort.
Yeah.
So my pet peeve in seeing creatives take it too far, it just alerts me that you are not in control. That's all it tells me. And it's not a judgment, it's an observation.
Yeah.
Because there are measures to which you can assert your aesthetic onto the public, onto your platform, your audience. But if you're not palatable even in the style you're showing us, it still doesn't yield the result.
Mahwa, palatable. We must be able to digest what you are giving us. Yes. Palatable means you don't leave a bitter taste in my mouth.
Yes.
And contentically speaking, meaning aurogane too much, you don't speak things that you're not sure of, or you don't speak rough, or you palatable. Stick with me.
It's going to be the thing that makes you last in people's, minds. So if you're the first thing I see every time I log on, you didn't work for that. I just logged on.
I just arrived.
You didn't earn it, But if I just logged on and it hit the sweet spot and I'm just impressed with what I'm looking at or I'm drawn to it, whatever you've posted, that comes with energy. I'm sending positive energy to it because I'm responding positively to what I'm seeing. And people don't always know when too far is too far.
Yeah.
And clickbait is like, it's a cheap thrill, guys. Don't do that. Don't ride the wave just because.
It's not worth it, actually.
It's not even worth it because you're going to tarnish your brand. You're actually going to tarnish your brand.
We're not going to come back on there.
Yes.
Because we know, you're a liar.
Yeah. Like you actually don't want to tell.
Sharp, no
yeah.
problem.
So if you go with the wind, got everything, today you are this, next week you are that. There's no trouble with being many things.
Yeah.
But show the restraint in terms of your strategy. Your strategy is now what must make everything flow well.
Yeah.
So even in your grooming, your grooming can't just be random.
Yeah.
Right? Just because you are being authentic does not mean you get a free pass at also looking after yourself and also presenting yourself well. So even if Keep is your brand, or you like to look dapper, so you're going to wear suits and ties and all of these things, yes, the little things are going to matter, because you're not just showing me that you can dress like that. You're also showing me how you live in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's going to be something that I take away from the experience of you based on what you are showing. So I would stay away from just doing things just because.
Yeah.
You know, that's when brands really start to suffer, because if nothing justifies the action, then you're just losing context.
Yeah.
You know, then people and your brands and the companies that might want to work with you don't really know what you stand for. So you might be great to look at.
Yeah.
You might be appealing to catch attention. But then what happens when someone who has potentially a campaign they want to align with you, but they're not entirely sure that, you know, just the upkeep. How much do we have to invest in this creative?
Yeah, that's what I was saying the other day, when I'm like, sometimes you can have all the engagements and stuff, but we're gonna start to notice if our alone.
It shows. And you know, I spent a lot of time. I spent like maybe 15 years as a makeup artist, right? And a big part of my life now in that space is obviously being very close to someone's face. And I get to be in their personal space. I get to see very intimate moments from a person, you know. And I think I love that that's how, you know, a lot of my work started, because I got to understand the basics. I got to understand how it is that people move. How do people carry themselves? I noticed the client who can't do anything without spraying perfume. I noticed the client who has a fresh fade when he comes. He doesn't come to set. You know, like there's things about you. And now if we just dial it back a little bit and circle back to authenticity, that's where that counts. If personal grooming is within the range of what you want, then it's going to show.
For sure.
So if you want to see something good happen with your content, then you have to do something good. But if you're not really like portraying it that way, then you can't be mad at the response, and you can't be mad at the engagement and how it fluctuates. So being able to build a consistent brand means at least being good at just grooming yourself well.
For sure.
You know, if you love a cat eye and you love big lashes and you love, you know, whatever, big sneakers, whatever your thing is, do it, but then also have some panache with it. Like, do something sexy, keep it light, cute, keep it nice, you know, like, because you showing us, you know, the rough cuts of you is not entirely wrong, but you can work on that. You know, that's something you can fix. It's within your power to fix it, you know. Now, video content, you know, I shouldn't have had that cup there. I forgot to move that frame. I forgot to, you know, just check your content, you know, and everything that you do in your grooming is going to reflect to the things that you do outside. So if you can pay attention to details for yourself, then your work is going to get the same out of you, you know. So it does have serious consequences to me if you don't look after your grooming the way that you should. Just because it's online doesn't mean that you're not sending out a message.
For sure.
You know, so...
And you've said an important thing, Jorge. It does have consequences, but it means it also has reward.
Yeah,
well.
equally. The other side of that is...
When you pay enough attention and you alula, alulang. Please.
It shows in your body language too.
It does. If you know, I was watching a content creator on TikTok, and she was starting a vlog. She's like, I just remembered I didn't brush my teeth. Hold on. And for me, it was a thing, because even if I was watching her, I would be
would have probably had a thought like that too.
Linda, let me check myself out, because, you know, she's like, I know you guys are over there, but I think it was a big move.
Because she's in tune with her routine.
And it's important as well, because, you know, in as much as you've noticed how the guests and how your clients, it then taps into how you groom yourself. You just can't show up anyhow.
No, I don't.
Because me and you are going to sit 2 hours
close proximity.
Shoulder to shoulder,
eyelash to eyelash.
So, nose to
nose
for
to nose
real.
sometimes, because when I do have to do up close, I am in my client's personal space. So that does dictate that I also manage myself really well for my client's sake. And that's not just about my eyebrows being neat and having a pretty hairstyle. It's also respecting that if this is an occasion and there's camera work going on, I need to look appropriate.
Are you going to show up in like fluffy
I can't do that. I can't do that. Like, if you look at it in the greater scheme of things, your client paid a lot of money to have this production happen for their lives. Now, these pictures are supposed to last a lifetime. Every time they see it, they have to see my emoji, whatever, or my, whatever gimmick thing that I want to be my thing, But now if it's my thing in an environment that didn't require it, I've just gone and ruined these people's pictures for no reason. I didn't have to wear my emoji slippers that day. So now,
emoji slippers.
No offense to the emoji crew.
Listen,
I'm just saying that
it's all love. Okay,
it's all love. But you have to respect, the outside world. As much as you own your voice, please be appropriate. There are places and times for things. And I know creatives, we don't do well with rules. We don't do well with being told what to do, but you'll see the hard way how client reject because of that very thing, because you don't look after that thing, and it's not personal at that point.
No, it's not.
Because now they're looking for someone they don't have to worry about whether they know those basics or not, for example, So it's like pay attention to you, move with how you want to move organically, but also know that what you are showing us, we see it from you first.
Yes.
So if you are uncomfortable, we are going to pick it up.
Yes.
If you are faking it, we're going to pick it up.
100%.
If you are inconsistent, it's still going to show, right? We all fall prey to inconsistency. No one is perfect. But in this sense of, things, it would be great if you just did invest in that care over the details of your brand. That's it. It's just that extra sprinkle on top of everything that just says, that just says you can do a lot more for yourself, that you can go further with this branding thing just based on that sprinkle and how it polishes everything for you.
Yeah.
And it's not about perfection, like you said. It's not just dewiki and expensive things or having a fit specifically from
that's
a
that's
shop
why
that's
I literally
popular.
am making the example of Alula.
Yeah.
Never said buy expensive clothes, show a logo, show an expensive house, book a hotel. No, it's right there in your space, because an important thing that you've mentioned is that as a content creator, because even when I see you in your content at a client's, event, I see how you carry yourself, and I would want to experience that. So, Luena, as a content creator, don't just look at it with, no, your content is pretty and what. I'm going to be able to tell, would I invite them to my event? How would they be around clients? If they can't even just smallanyana brush your hair, smallanyana, that means they won't dress up, they won't follow the theme, they just won't. They're just gonna expect it to just be like, nah, Naki here for the vibes.
Now imagine all of those things stacked up against you.
Come on.
Over something you could change.
Then you're gonna be asking the question, di campaign di guy. Then I'm just gonna show you your stack. Kiri. The campaign is behind this one.
Hey, if you just
behind box number 1. Campaign more. So let's talk. What are the top tips then, maybe, that you can give content creators who don't feel camera ready but still need to show up regardless?
I think the first thing you can do is work with your wardrobe. Work with what you have, right? There's a thing that becomes very hard on social media when you see applied pressure through polished content from other content creators, right? But the challenge is that if you're going to sway with that, it's not going to be easy for you to do your own thing. So work with what you have and refine that, because level by level, as you grow, you'll be able to expand into a different budget that can allow you to move a little differently and a little more, refined and polished. But while you have what you have now, curate it well. Curate it well. Your wardrobe, get to know it. Get to know what your style actually is. Don't wear things that make you feel uncomfortable. Don't wear things that don't resonate with you anymore, that make you feel, there's sometimes a color that you might wear that actually drains the pigment out of your skin. It doesn't read well on camera. You look, sallow or sick. So it's like wear colors that flatter you, colors that move with your mood, so that
Yes.
the vibrance carries through, and
Yeah.
then have a structure to that.
Yeah.
Know that maybe for certain types of content, there's a certain style you do. For certain types of other content, there's a style you do.
Yes.
So that you are always working within a comfortable perimeter within
Yes.
your things.
Yeah,
Because
boo.
the pressure to go and buy is killing the youth. Abo. People do have clothes, but because we're seeing somebody do a haul every 2 days,
Now
it's
are
like
there.
you need a brand new wardrobe every time, and that's
Those
not
halls
the
are
case.
expensive, Kiliblele.
Also, they are free to a lot of people. They are really gifted those
That's
things.
what I mean.
So
To those that are not free, those halls are expensive.
They are
When you see somebody
expensive.
pull out a box, don't think that they spent 1.5 on that box.
Yeah.
If it's not a free haul or they actually did go shopping for
Yeah.
real. Some of them aren't free. And it's
Yeah.
really people just buying clothes for themselves and shop. Don't go and put yourself under that
Be practical.
pressure. Yeah.
Be practical.
Yeah.
My second piece of advice would be, I can't stop saying the truth. Speak the truth to yourself, right? Understand that right now, whatever it is,
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
so that you can understand, you can build what you can do, right?
With what you have.
With what you have, right? So being able to apply truth to even your budget or to your structure or to your strategy will go a long way, because then even you can course correct better when you understand your truth,
Yeah.
right? So if you need to pivot and your truth is aligned with Bianca Mangmang,
Yeah.
you're going to struggle to pivot for your brand, because
Yeah,
you now know that you're not going to look like Bianca, and you kind of funneling your look from somewhere.
Yeah.
But now your audience is only responding maybe to a certain other thing that maybe you are not paying attention to. So just have a good relationship with how you understand yourself, so that once you have to move and alter and adjust and change, you're not distorting and fragmenting your brand while you're doing all of that. Keep it intact, And then my third would be, I think if anything had to happen to the creative industry and it had to shut down, or it didn't have to work ever again.
Oh yeah, God forbid.
Hey, I don't. I rebuke the words.
Because wow, we're going far with this creative
I get
industry.
apocalyptic with my examples, just because I love to play out the worst case scenario. It's how I mitigate risk for myself. It's to know that, okay, if this is the worst thing that can happen to me, how do I dial it? Okay, so this is maybe here.
Yeah.
If that's the worst that can happen to me, this is
here.
kind of where I am. I'm okay.
I'm
alright. So be able to have access to your resources, have access to information, have access, build a network. Like that saved me so many times, just being able to know that I could call on someone for a certain thing, call in a favor here and there, explain myself here and there, just so that I could get the ambience or the textures or the aesthetic or something that's going to make it work for me. You know, the earliest stages of when I was building my content for some of my makeup work was because I noticed my clients started getting slightly, my clientele that I was attracting, moved from a certain bracket to a certain bracket.
Mahua, I think what she's trying to say is that makeup nil 150 anaqala. Jwale makeup seli 1.9. You understand? So just the bracket.
So ha ke le ka ntle ka bona.
How sale ko premium?
No, now I don't just arrive anyhow. No. Even I had to invest in like my wardrobe. Even I had to start washing my car before I go to work. I had to start fixing certain things, and I think for the reasons that I had for my brand, it was easier for me to notice that I've progressed into like that kind of clientele where I can see that I'm not ready yet for that, because monetary-wise, I'm not where they are. It is a good reflection of what I'm attracting, but I'm not what they are. Yes.
There's no need
so if I
for
didn't
you
have a
to-
good relationship with the truth, ke lo reka suit ko kae, ke reke dikit tse ntjha le
that was not the
but
message.
it just felt far from me. So the best I could do was curate myself and package myself in a certain way that it can work out for me. So
Yeah.
being able to have access to other people in the space I've worked in the ways and the byways that I've passed certain
Yeah.
clients, it's been good to know that my network sometimes shows up for me and that my
Yeah.
network is able to plug me into certain things. It's
Yeah.
been like a gift that some clients remember me at the right time to just
Yes.
suggest me to someone else,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and that's the thing that I really like. But I have a bonus tip.
Okay.
Be available
Don't
for
ever
the
say I
unexpected.
ain't do none for you. Okay.
Just don't be surprised by the unexpected. You know, the unexpected is usually opportunities to grow,
Yes.
right? So maybe you do have a plan and a strategy. Maybe you do have an aesthetic and, you know, something set and locked in. But something sometimes takes you somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then there's an added layer that can benefit you. But if you're not open-minded to it, you might shut it down, you know, and then that's a missed opportunity,
Yeah, it is.
right? So be flexible in the sense that you can see an opportunity out of things that don't look normal to you, you know? So if I had been rigid in my career and said, I only want to stay as one thing, I wouldn't have followed around other directors. I wouldn't have followed around DOPs and cinematographers and photographers and editors and sound engineers.
Yes.
I wouldn't have mingled with anyone else. I would have stayed in my one-dimensional track and then had the nerve to be disgruntled down the line that I'm not fulfilled or the industry is cutting me out or it's, you know, even in my makeup scope, I had to learn very early that I need to be able to cater to more than one type of makeup because one day I'm going to require it, you know. So I took the time to find a school that could teach me that. And finding that school made the world of a difference because to have a 15-year career in a makeup space where if I can tell you that maybe there were 3 or 4 mentors when I started, it's crazy that there are so many makeup artists now. But when I started, me personally, that was not a thing that was common.
Where it was common,
Right? So if I didn't have maybe the grit to just stick it out and see, maybe let's see where this goes, I wouldn't have been able to groom myself over time to see the industry progress, to see how the makeup styles are trending, to see how different people are taking in different trends, how they want to interpret it, and being able to see that, okay, Honaje, I have to do 10 faces. Nane gets a little pageant. That's 15 people, 20 people at a time. And it's
different
not
styles,
different skin
types,
tones, different
everything.
ethnicities, different, you know, everything was so different that I had to learn how to do everyone's face for them. I didn't get the luxury of doing one face for everybody, which is common now and it's okay,
because
you
this
know.
one time I walked in a very, very famous runway. Limfoneleng, guys. I still want to walk that runway.
Yes.
But they did our face the same. All of us. I mean, all of us. Us dark skins, the colored girlies, the Indian girlies, we had the same. I need you to hear me what I'm trying to say. Like there was a color eyeshadow that would obviously slap on a dark skin that wouldn't hit on a light skin and vice versa. They put us all in one eyeshadow, one. I was a little bit overwhelmed.
That's an experience.
I was like, I sat down, I was like, I looked at him like, hey, bro, you look good. I was like, wait, me too? I'm also getting the same thing. So it's actually quite important. But I think you've said an important thing because I know we can talk all day. But we kind of don't have all day. But I wanted you to give advice to creators that what piece of advice could you give them to take or how to take what kind of creative risks they could take without confusing their audience?
I think, you know, it's tricky. It is a fine line. Get to know your brand first so that you can understand what you need to do. So that when opportunities like that come up, you are able to assess just from thinking and just looking and, you know, weighing out the pros and cons. If it's something you can do, do you see yourself moving like that? And if you did move like that, what it would then mean? So it's basically just check how much of a scope you know of yourself to know if you're going to be able to do it or not. So that you don't just agree to anything.
Any old thing.
Yes, because that's what will make you lose your way a little bit with your content. So check first if it aligns with you. I'll ask yourself deeper questions about it. Okay, this is a great brand, which is often, it's the common thing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing brand. The brand has approached you. They love your flair. They love how you do your thing. The money sounds right. And then you look at the deliverables.
Yeah.
And then you look at the deadlines. And then you look at the terms and conditions of the contract. That's where you must.
Yeah.
So skaya kama wala wala or
Hey.
brand is mang mang. It's the big dogs. It's the big dogs. You must see where you are going to catch yourself out. I read once, there was a phrase of a post on social media some time back, and it said, don't sign a check that your character can't cash.
Ooh.
So that's where I'm gonna leave that one.
Yeah, I don't even want to ask another question after that because I feel like uputa putile, where I come from, they say that udi kwetse kaofela. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I feel like this was an important little, not even little, but an important piece of content creation that people can, because some of the questions are just like, what should I wear? How do I know which color? And I think you've just covered it by saying that a person researches, that's how you put together, that's how you'll know what you like, that's how you know what will suit you and what will not, because it's not everything that can suit you. And Babalo Khare once said, for, I would say, the thick girlies, just because it comes in your size doesn't necessarily mean that you should wear it. Those kind of conversations. And in terms of data research, because sometimes you do think body confidence here, body confidence here, how they differ. And I'm not talking this from a plus size perspective only. I'm talking across the board. Not all of us wigs are gonna suit us. The pixie cuts are not for everybody. It's the shape of your head, the shape of your face, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. Find what suits you and just bring it out and make it shine. Thank you, Mama. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. Can I quick fire?
Yes.
Can I quick fire before alarm yaka ila lightsaber kira alarm yako thing. Okay, quick fire. What is the weirdest DM that you've ever received?
Hi, I like you. I know you don't know me. Can we go out?
I mean, it's mild. You marry me.
No,
but
it's
weird.
It's weird because I don't know you.
Yeah.
Like at all. And that you also know
go?
that I don't know you. You're aware that we don't know each other. Okay. Yeah, that's my weird one.
That is very bizarre, actually, now that I think about it. If you could only create content for one platform, which platform would it be?
Instagram.
Okay, why?
I enjoy the platform. I've had it. I'm an old soul. I've had it for a very long time, since like 2013.
Yeah.
And it's just been good to me, and I just enjoy my time there. I like the different ways that I can express myself, the different ways that I can exist without the pressure of my posts, and I can have different backups. So I just like how the interface looks. I like the interaction I have, and I like the network I've built on Instagram. My way of connecting with people is better on Instagram than my other platforms.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely Instagram.
Okay. What is your guilty pleasure when you're not creating content?
Your nature. I hike, I'm hugging trees, I'm singing with butterflies.
Hugging trees?
I'm saying Moana, I'm saying all the animes. I'm a nature girl. Yay. So when it rains, you must thank me. It's me out there doing all the hard work, guys. Hey, because
I hear you.
No,
partly, Lena, they can thank me. If you guys need rain, let me know, because then I can take my car to the car wash. Because guaranteed, not specifically.
That's the trigger,
yeah. So if you need a pula, not slide into the DM, but at least just reach out and channel Khumo. Or just now you can send a comment and say, "Upa kawash."
You can send bubble emojis. She'll know what you mean.
Pronto pula. Okay. What is the one brand that you would love to work with?
Bang & Olufsen.
Bagolo baka eo yona nkeke ka khona ho le thusa le tlo thusa ke research, because a re bui ka okay,
it's a sound company. It's like Sony.
Yes,
they do sound equipment. I'm big on music and sound waves.
And sound.
Yeah.
Le mo phoneleng he bagolo baka Let's do the things.
talk.
Lastly, if your content style had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Mo to the E to the S to the
Okay,
H to the. This is
Melodic
Moesha's theme song,
yeah.
guys. That's how old I
No,
am.
because Africa said the same thing.
Really?
Yes.
That's so dope.
Lily Creative. And she's a musician. Because
You get me?
because she was like the Moesha brand, the Moesha theme
Yeah,
song.
because I post like that. I post in diary form. I feel like is that
Yeah. That's weird because she also did that exact same thing.
Yeah, I post like that. So that's how it plays out in my head
Yeah,
when
when you post.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's cool, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much
This
for
was so
coming.
fun.
We appreciate you and we see you. And yeah, if you're looking on my social media, you see me pageant, anything that is there. Her
I'm on
own
speed
two
dial.
hands. That's working. She did a thing there by the pageant. Go back to the pageant content and just see. They've never seen a face like that. Don't fund that. Love them so much. But otherwise, thank you so Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. This has been Creator Conversations, talking about grooming, creative direction. Don't forget that the cash is still up for grabs. The tracksuit is also still up for grabs, and other little prizes. So keep engaging, ask the questions, follow us, subscribe, share with your friends. And yeah, maybe Luana Ibile, you want to be a guest. If you want to be a guest, hala, it's a jwalo. Write to us. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.